Good deal. All right, we're just going to do a test real quick and see if everybody online can hear us. Moy, can you hear us okay? You're online. Are you there? Yes. Okay, excellent. All right. And we're recording as well. So hi, everybody. How are you? Thanks so much for making it out tonight. Do we have any people here for the first time? Oh, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So this is the Big Valley Beekeepers Guild. We always meet the second Thursday of the month. And logistics. So bathrooms are actually through this little hallway and down the hallway. The women's restrooms are first on the right. The men's are second. They're across from the drinking fountain. So just so you know. I want to introduce our board member, our directors, as well as our volunteers, and I'll just kind of go around the room. So we have Zoe over there, who's our director in waiting, and she is all things sign in. So did everybody sign in, and did everybody get a door prize drawing ticket? Yes. Okay. Excellent. This is because it's really important because we have some really great stuff tonight. So we want to make sure everybody gets a ticket. We also have Judy. Hi, Judy. She's one of our board of directors, myself, Cherie, and then we also have Bill. There we go. And you're welcome to, reach out to us anytime, talk to us after the meeting. We're happy to help in any way that we can. So just a little bit about us. Let's see if I can get this to work. The thing with Zoom is that, there we go. We do have patches and pins and hats available. T-shirts were on the last two. I think they're size medium. Is that right? So large. There's one large, one medium. So if you still need your T-shirt, this is your chance. And then we will be ordering some new ones in the next couple of months. So we're excited about that. But definitely talk to Judy or Zoe if you're interested in any of those. Here's some news and updates. So we definitely need volunteers. We're going to do a big push the remainder of this year and into next year for volunteers. And that's because we have a lot of exciting things coming up. We have our annual honey tasting contest that's happening in November. Then December is our annual Christmas party. And then we will kick off the new year in the spring with our beginning beekeepers class. We might even throw in there an intermediate class sometime next year if we can, along with possibly a Is Beekeeping for You class. So the board's still kind of talking about that as well. Now, something we definitely want to mention is the Lodi Grape Festival that's coming up the second weekend in September. And I think Judy was going to talk a little bit about the honey entries because there is still time. Yes, here you go. Here's the mic.
It's the time now when you can submit an entry form. And I did bring some here. I think you can download them at the Grape Festival website, or you can go to the Grape Festival office and get them. And at the website or at the office, they have a book that tells what the rules are for submitting your honey. They're really basic. They want you to put your honey in a standard canning jar like this. I last year kind of felt like they liked the plain ones as opposed to the quilted ones for some reason. So that there's no charge to do it. And the festival opened a new category this year for honey. So we'd really like to have as many people enter as want to, because they're advertising, oh, we have a new things, honey. So you can, you don't have to be in San Joaquin County.
How many jars do you have to submit?
You have to submit 2. And I don't know if this applies to anybody, but I think you can do up to 3 different ones. Like say you had, 2 or 3 honeys that were very different from each other. Or like Cherie was talking about doing a creamed honey. I think you could do a creamed honey and a, what they call normal runny honey, but up to 3 in that category. So if you want to take a look at it, I brought that.
The scarecrow contest too?
Okay, but that's right. I forgot to say too, the dates. I think you have to submit your application form by the end of this month. Yeah, the application forms are due August 30. You take the honey in on September 3rd. So, they have some, dates on it. Actually, do you want to talk about the scarecrow? Because I'm not really involved in it so much.
We're gonna do a, oh, sorry. We're gonna do a mermaid beekeeper because the theme for the fair is under the sea. Let's celebrate. So I'm gonna do my best to figure out what that means, but I'll do my best. So far the idea is a mermaid beekeeper. So
Yes, so if you want to work on that, be in touch with Zoe.
Hey, you know what? We had so much fun and we actually got a second place ribbon last year. It was the first time entering and we won. They gave us $50 as award money. So I know, and it's really fun. Basically, the committee got together a couple of times and then they met at the fairgrounds, at the Great Festival grounds to actually build we have one evening to put together the scarecrow, and it was really fun. It was great to go there during the fair to actually see it and take pictures and see us represented. So definitely fun. All right. Gosh, our educational hives. So as you know, Jesse's Grove Winery has partnered with us. And we have our educational hives out there. It's the greatest opportunity for beekeepers, whether you are new or you're intermediate or even advanced, to come out and get some beehive experience. So it's my turn next. I'm going to be out there this Saturday at 7:30, 7:45. We're going to promptly head over to the hives and we're going to check a couple things, feed them, all that good stuff. So if you want to come and join me that day, I would love the extra hands. You do have to be a paid member of the guild, and that has to do with our insurance. But have your bee suit, don't bring any hive tools. We'll have all of that there and we'll take a look at the 4 hives that are out there. So let me know tonight if you'd like to go, or else email us so I know who to expect. Okay, that would be great. And if you'd ever like to sponsor a meeting, let us know. We do Zoom, so for our members, and it's $20 to sponsor our meetings each month. So we'd love to have your participation in that as well. Save the date. So our next meeting again is going to be September 12th. That's the second Thursday of the month. We always are looking forward to seeing you here. And then, so I want to introduce you to tonight's guest. And I actually pulled it up on my phone because this is important. All right. So we have a very special guest and it's in person, which is amazing. So we're so glad he could be here with us. But Greg, I cannot talk with this retainer. Greg Gayton, is that correct? Did I say your last name right? Okay. He is a California Certified Nursery Professional and an official plant nerd, right? And he's proud and owns that title. He is coming to us from Green Acres Nursery and Supply, Matsudas. He has been working with them actually for 45 years, and he has worked all sorts of jobs for them over the years. But most recently, he's actually been on the marketing team. You won't see him. You'll hear him with his podcast. You can actually go to Green Acres, and we posted those links not only in our private group, but on our public page. So you can go there to hear him and learn everything garden related. But he really has held every job at Green Acres, for everything from a commodity buyer for their 200-acre facility to a store manager. And he's actually the one, if you go online and you submit a garden question, guess who gets it? This guy right here. So he spends much of his time actually speaking to clubs and groups like ours across the region, and he loves working with the outreach program. I think this is definitely his niche. And he has brought some things for us. So he's actually going to give us a giveaway at the end of the night. He's going to everything you see on this table. So that's why if you did bring something for the raffle, we're going to save it for next month. But we are so excited. I can't wait to see what I can hopefully win too. But with that, I'd like to turn on Greg's mic and let's give him some hands for applause for making all the way down here from Sacramento.
I got it on. Yeah. Well, it's an honor to be here. I don't know if anybody's ever shopped at our store, Green Acres. Oh, sweet. Awesome. We're local, family owned, Sacramento. We also have the brothers in Texas. So we actually have 3 stores in Texas as well. So, and I not only answer questions up here, I answer questions in Texas too, which is really fun because the emails usually come out with y'all have or something like that. But you know, it's really an honor to be here. I grew up in southeastern Colorado as a kid. And, well, one of the first things is thank you. Nobody sang the Green Acres song because I go in all the time and people are going, oh, and they start singing the song. And I'm like, oh, God. But one of the things, I grew up in southeastern Colorado, and my favorite show was The Big Valley. And I loved it so much, I actually applied for a scholarship at UOP and I got it. And that's how I came to California. So because of the Big Valley TV show, I love that show. And so, and that was in 1976. So that's been a long time. And I absolutely love it here. I've been with Green Acres since 1979. Started out with Matsudas, which is a local company. The owner started that in 1957. So I worked with Hotsko and Hiroshi Matsuda. He was actually a war hero that served under MacArthur. And well, and then in 2008, Mark Gale, who owns Green Acres, bought the Matsuda's Garden Center, and that's where I learned, that's where I jumped onto Green Acres. And then Don Matsuda passed away, and so all the brothers went and purchased the growing facility. So that's how we all got started. But throughout the years, I'm sort of trying to make amends now because when I first started in the 70s, I was a horticulturist, but I sold all these products like orthene and isotox and malathion and diazinon. People would come into the nursery and go, how do I kill bees because they bug me? Or how do I kill frogs because they wake at night? Or, and all these things. And everybody came into the store and they bought the bag of Scott's fertilizer and they saw the lawn on it, and Scott's is in Marysville, Ohio, and everybody wanted their yard to look like that. So throughout the years, we've learned through droughts, through, just all different conditions that we've always had to change. And one of the things which I get to work with now is, besides working with University of California, I also work with Texas A&M, and I work with the University of Colorado, the University of Oklahoma, and Tulane University, is we're finding out that 90% or more of the insects that visit your yard are actually beneficial. So, the big push back in the 70s, I'd go into the store, Matsuda's Garden Center, and I literally have to go in an hour or two and open the doors. Otherwise, you'd pass out from the chemical smell. And that's the truth. And now we're finding out that we really killed a lot of beneficial insects, including bees. And we have 1,600 varieties of native bees to California. So all these, people would come in and go, I've got these holes on my leaves and they were cutter bees. How do I kill them? And somebody would grab malathion or something and just kill all the bees. So we've changed everything like that. And we realized that most of the insects that come into your yard are beneficial. And so instead of opening the door, let out the fumes of all the chemicals, the next best thing is to kill the bad bugs is to bring in the good bugs. So instead of chemicals on our shelves, this is the new chemical. Because not only do they help pollinate, but they bring in the beneficial insect. And I like questions. I'm super shy. If you please ask, I'm happy to answer them. Like I say, I answer all the questions for all the.
I'm gonna adjust your mic. You're totally good. And just so everybody knows, I have, make sure I'm good here. I have the microphone, so just if you shoot up your hand or I can see you asking a question, I'll race over to you so our folks on Zoom can hear you. So is that okay, everybody? All right, I'm gonna do this. Hold on. We'll see if that makes a difference. All right, go for it.
I've been suffering from a sinus infection for like two 2 weeks, Kaiser's got me all pumped up with stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to remember this talk. I don't have COVID, but I just have a bad sinus infection, so I sound a little weird. But you know, we started not using chemicals, and if we do, we use chemicals that just target a couple of insects. You know, you don't have to have broad spectrum um, pesticides anymore. We're all going to organics because organics, basically, we realize that soil is a living organism. And because of that, we're starting to see our insect population start to increase. And you can do your part. You probably all have, but who has lavender in here? Does anybody see? I mean, lavender is fantastic. Or who has coneflower? Anybody have coneflower? Oh, well, somebody's going to have a coneflower tonight. Oh, cool. Yeah, but you don't get it because you buy from Amazon. No, I'm just kidding. But we're also finding out that, okay, so we have all these really cool plants, and I'll go through the different plants. But we also realize that we have to bring native plants into the scope. You know, the natives are really super important. And then also with insects, the beneficial insects like the bees and everything, we have to have flowers and produce beauty, but flowers throughout the year. A lot of people will plant only in the springtime and that's it. But you need to have spring, summer, and fall to help out the bees and to help out all the beneficials. So there's so many different things that you can plant in your yard that you can get at Green Acres or Amazon. I'm giving her such a bad time. Something you bought a couple of things, actually. No, that's okay. That's fine. We forgive you. We take your picture down from our wall of shame here. But so, you know, the great thing is that you want to plant a bunch of different things out there so the bees have a palette to choose from. You know, planting one lavender plant out there is not going to bring a lot of bees or beneficials in your yard. And lavenders, for example, there's like Spanish lavender that comes on in late winter or spring. Then there's like French and there's the English lavender. So having different types of lavenders out there is going to have flowering throughout the season. The same thing like catmint. Catmint is really cool because it blooms throughout the year. It really brings things in, and it's the easiest plant to grow. You could practically plant it upside down and still survive. Please don't do that. The bees, of course, like the blues, the lavenders, the whites, the yellows. You're not really wanting to put reds out there, although they can see yellows and oranges. So anything blue in your yard is really going to attract them. Rosemary is a great, yeah, rosemary is wonderful. I remember people used to come to the store and say, I'm not going to plant rosemary because they bring in bees and they're all going to bite me. And I want to say to them, bite me, you know, because it's a great plant to bring in and you're actually building up your whole ecosystem and that's really important. I know I sound like the old Gibbons. I don't eat pine cones, but we have to reevaluate our whole gardening, you know, thoughts. You know, we used to, gardening was the thing, and then they came out to organic gardening, and now it's ecological gardening. And that's basically planting not only for yourself, but for everything, wildlife and all. So that's planting for the bees. So catmint is a great plant to bring in bees. Does anybody have any catmint in their yard? We had one in front of our Sacramento store. Gosh, I had it for like 4 years, and people would literally come by the store, even in the winter time, and take pictures of it because it was so beautiful. And when the fog was in and it was bleak, the catmint looked amazing. And we lost it. Believe it or not, a lady with a Buick came through our fence and took the catmint out. But you know, the only thing that will kill it is a Buick Electra. But it does really, really well. So somebody's going to get this tonight. Cat mint?
Yeah, is it cat?
Yeah, cat mint. Nepeta, Nepeta. This one's called Walker's Low, which is really great. It doesn't really need a lot of soil amending. If you put it in, if you get this tonight, wait a couple of weeks when we get a little cooler, you know, when Satan's farts start happening in the thing, because you want to put it, you want to water it so that you water it, give it a good thorough soaking, and then let it dry to the soil dry the first 2 to 3 inches, and then give it a good watering. Because this plant, like most plants, the roots not only need water, but they need oxygen. And the only way to get oxygen is to let the soil dry between waterings. It does spread about 3 to 4 feet.
But it's not invasive like mints. It's not a
No,
mint.
it's not like a mint. It's not invasive. It's really, really beautiful. And it looks like it's manicured when it's not. So it's a really, really tidy, nice looking plant that just the bees go nuts over. And it does bloom throughout the season. Full sun. South facing full sun or western exposure. It'll take a little afternoon shade, but if you give it too much shade, it's not going to bloom. Cool. I feel like I'm in kindergarten class and I'm show and tell. This is fun. Another one, yellow, is oh, did you have a question?
I do have a question.
Sure.
We actually live in the Central Valley.
Okay.
Okay. And so the temperatures are a little hotter. We fight deer a great deal. We have been to one of your facilities and have spent thousands of dollars on plants, and some survive and some don't. I'm wondering, does Green Acres offer any services where we can hire someone to come to our property, take a look and make suggestions?
That's a great question. We don't have enough staff to do that.
Okay.
And we also sell to contractors. So we would be competing with them as well. So you can go to the contractor's counter and check their cards out. But I have had really good success with telling people, for example, areas start little at a time, take pictures and use our staff. And you could ask one person and then you could be like hailing a New York taxi cab, one person here and then ask the other person the same question. If it's in the middle of spring and we're crazy, if you take 2 hours with one of our staff, that's fine. Go to the other stores, put all the information together.
We've always gotten very good help when we've gone, and we tell them, we try and explain, where we're at. and
Sure. Do you
There-
take pictures and stuff like that, show them?
We do. But we don't have, I mean, Sacramento is the closest Green Acres we have. So
Okay.
it's not like we have one in Calaveras County.
Okay.
So
Well, I always suggest, like, friends will come up and ask me, I can always tell when I go to a friend's house for dinner where I'm sitting, because the table setting is where I'm sitting is shears and pruners and stuff like that. But I always tell them, try a couple of different Green Acres and put all the information together, because plants are, what one person, different things. And I've had people come back with a lot of good feedback about that. Don't feel like you have to buy anything. I mean, we're a dog-friendly nursery. People come into our stores just to walk their dogs and leave. We don't have a total, oh, they didn't buy anything, get them back in here. So ask a ton of questions. That's really important. And then if you lose things, make sure you go back to the manager. If you have something that dies,
a lot dies, but it's not, it's because it's getting eaten by the deer. So
Okay.
It's not anything related to getting a bad product.
Okay.
It's
okay.
trial and error.
Well, most of the time, like deer, anything that's really fragrant foliage, like that catmint or like rock rose or anything like that, usually deer stay away. But then, of course, we have a lot of drought and then deer will eat anything. So you have to, watch that. I always liked I lived in Pollock Pines and I lived in Camino. I lived in places where deer were, and I'd put water out there, like fountains. And I know your property might be huge and you can't do that, but I'd put like windmills and all that. I know it looked a little, pardon me? Oh yeah, to scare them. And it worked. I looked like, something from a Chevy Chase movie a little bit, but it did work on keeping the deer out. So, but please come in and ask questions. We really love it. A lot of times you'll see people out and outside cells, they'll be talking to each other and it's like the Maytag repairman. Where are all the people to ask us questions? So a lot of them do like that. This is Coreopsis, and this one is great. Yellow always goes really well with purple and lavender. And I always like to group them together because that's when you start getting more of the insects in. It's diversity in your yard really is what keeps sign at Cal Public Radio in Sacramento. We have a garden out there and we have bees out at that garden. And that's the thing that we realized the bees really liked was putting all different kinds of perennials around there. You don't have to just come to Green Acres. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or what anything. I'll hate you for that, but no, I'm just kidding. But the more diversify you put out there, the more your bees are going to come out there. And and that also includes plants like Western redbuds planted around them, or tupelo trees. The bees love that. Manzanita. Incorporate all these into your landscapes because they draw the bees into it. Does anybody have any questions? Somebody's going to get a Coreopsis. This one takes full sun. You prune back the old flowers, just pinch them back, and they come back. And they come back every year too. So this is one of those ones you just don't want. Treat it like a feral cat. Because if you give it too much love, it's not going to come back to you. So this is one of those ones that you plant it and forget it, and it does really well.
Here's a question, Greg. So whenever I'm at Green Acres and I'm looking at the plant tags and I'm looking for the zones, I mean, obviously Green Acres is going to sell plants that do well in our zones, but what's the rule about that? So if we, can, for our zone, like I'm kind of right in the middle between 9A and 9B,
Okay.
but how far can I go either way? Could I plant something that's a zone 7 or 8?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. I think I would be more inclined to not plant something that's higher zone, like some of the tropicals. But things have changed, throughout the years. When I first started at Matsudas, you couldn't plant jacaranda trees. And now jacaranda trees grow like crazy. We don't have the tule fog like we used to. And that used to keep things colder. A lot of the fruit trees that need chilling aren't doing as well because they're not getting chilling effect. We had Tamara Berg on our podcast, and hopefully we'll get the tule fog back. I'm hoping, although a lot of people hated it, remember you'd have to drive to San Francisco to take a plane instead of going out of Sacramento. But the tule fog actually helped a lot of plants. But now, so if you see something that's lower than 9 or 9B, it should be fine. With the exception of like hostas that do better in a colder climate, or tulips and stuff like that, but it should do fine. So if you're like at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, and it says, zone 6 or so, you should be really fine. There's no problem with that. And we're going to USDA zones. We used to do Sunset, but now we're doing USDA. So, there's a big push for more drought tolerant plants that take poor soil, things that do, and bring in pollinators too. So The next one is coneflower, echinacea, and it comes in all different flowers. This brings in like butterflies. It brings in like serpent flies. It brings in a lot of beneficials. And why bring them in when you have bees? But the more diversity you have with insects, the more that shows the health of your area. So bringing in not only bees, but other pollinators is going to definitely help with everything. It's going to show that I heard somebody, you have frogs or somebody has frogs here. Yeah, no, but that's what something ever in Sacramento, everybody's going, what happened to the frogs? So that's encouraging. They all hated Sacramento. Yeah, see ya, goodbye, later. But so this brings in a lot. So plan other things. You're thinking about the bees, but if you're going to bring in a lot of flowers, bring in things that bring in other beneficial insects. We had a customer come into our Elk Grove store about 2 months ago, excuse me, and he brought in a little container, a margarine container, and he said, I want to kill all these. And I go, let's take a look at it. And it was all ladybug larvae. So we have to identify what is good and what is bad. But, cutter bees, even though you see them chew the edges of the leaves, they're good. So let's start thinking that they're doing fine. There's mason bees. There's all different kinds of native California bees. So the more you plant other things, besides stuff for your bees, you're actually bringing and helping your bees out. So this is coneflower echinacea. This is salvia. I had a lady actually come in the other day and ask for where our saliva was. I have too much fun at my job. Salvia comes in all different colors. The bees love it. The more you plant, the more bees you're going to have. Very hardy, very drought tolerant. Plant with California natives. Blooms all summer. Now we're talking about having things that bloom throughout the year. Borage. Does anybody have borage in their garden? Tara, you can have the seed. No, you can have the seed, please. You shop at Green Acres, you gotta have the seed. No, not now. They're all sold out, unfortunately.
Is this deer resistant? I almost think with the stalk, because the stalk seems like it's very much like a sunflower.
I had it in Pollock Pines and I don't remember having deer, but then deer are different. I would give it a try. Borage is probably the best pollen producing plant ever. You want to definitely have borage in your garden. It's beautiful. It's a great herb for eating as well, but it definitely does, help out with the bees as far as pollen goes. The flowers last for 2-3 months and they they're just wonderful.
The plant's fuzzy blooms are unfathomable.
Oh.
I was hoping that. Yay.
See, cool. I wish I had the plant. I'm always looking for them, but I planted the seeds. And once you have borage, you always have borage. Oh, you will. Trust me.
My house.
It sounds like your house is awesome. It reseeds and it biennial, so it keeps coming around. It's forever. I have 3 community gardens that I can't be well enough alone, so I also have 3 community gardens I belong to. And the ones where people forget about them and all the weeds are up, and then there's a borage plant that's growing like a weed. So it's extremely hardy to grow. So if you can't grow that, but it's a really great plant for the bees and throughout the summertime, late winter, and then also in the fall. Now we're talking about California natives. And this is really cool because we sell Hedgerow Farm seeds, and Hedgerow Farm came to us to be on our podcast, and they didn't sell seed packets. And we did our podcast and they worked with our head buyer, and now we sell their seed. And this seed is grown in winters, so it's all native around here. And what's really cool about it is it's cheap. A lot of them are 99 cents. So don't hate me if you win one of these tonight. You know, I'm not trying to be cheap, but so we have everything from showy milkweed, lacy phacelia, western yarrow, and these are all taken from this, you know, that are all pretty much native in this area. California Goldilocks. This is the Central Valley pollinator mix, and it was designed by the Cersei Society. The royal lupins, and we have a number of different lupins, and the lupins actually help fixate nitrogen in your soil. So I don't know how the soil is down here. I know Sacramento, the soil is horrible. You know, we have cities like Rockland. You know, who wants to move to Rockland if you're a gardener, because it's like basically concrete painted brown, the soil. But lupin helps fixate nitrogen. But the great thing about all these California native seeds are, the end of next, you just scratch the soil, throw the seed down, and let Mother Nature take care of it. You could be Stevie Wonder and plant these. I hope that wasn't, never mind. The blue-eye grass, they have 200 acres at Hedgerow Farms, and there's like 10 acres just when this is in bloom. It's great. They actually give tours. So if you all go out for tours. And what's really cool is that after they started this in like the 70s, and they've noticed now more insects. And you know, back in the 70s, when you used to drive to Woodland, you had the windshield effect where you had to clean your windshields. Now it's not as much, but they're noticing that there's a lot more dirty windshields around there. So that's a good thing about it. So blue-eye grass. So anyway, we have a golden lupin, and of course the good old California poppy that a lot of people don't like to plant. I don't know why, because it's just invasive. It goes all over the place, but I want to paint the state orange. So anyway, does anybody have any questions about the California native seeds? Okay. Oh,
Question oh, hold on. Who had a question?
How do you get it in bulk?
you can get
How do you get it in bulk?
Oh, that's a great question. They have a QR code, and you can buy directly from them in bulk. So yeah, no, that's great. More power to you. We won't hate you for not buying the seed from Green Acres, but yeah, definitely more power to you. That's great. If everybody planted something California native in their yard, we could actually help change and bring back the environment. So to what it was like in the 60s.
Greg, what would you recommend as far as if anyone was going to start those as seeds? When is the best time to do that?
The end of next month.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You can put borage in as long as the ground's warm. You should be able to put the borage seeds in.
And if you wanted to do that maybe in December,
No, it's a little
No.
bit too cold then.
but if you did like seed trays, if you did them in a greenhouse, you could do
Sure,
it then
sure.
too.
We sell seed trays too.
Oh,
You can
okay.
tell I really want that 401k.
Yes.
Another thing that bees like, and they'll be coming in, and I just brought a picture of the flower, but asters, the Aster Ficardi, is coming in the fall, and the bees like it. And a lot of people, like I said, they only plant for the springtime, but they don't plant for the summer, and they don't plant for the fall. And you'll see Aster Ficardis in your local nursery, the Home Depot, Acres, and that's something you want to put out there because they come back every year too. You know, they might not be that, you know, you might not want to take a selfie in the middle of May because there's no flower out there, but they're going to come in. And the more you plant, the more you're going to have flowers throughout the season. So anyway, I put okay, this one is called a straw flower. Oh, cool. You have a straw flower? They dry really well. They're easy to grow. This is one of those ones where you win a contest for a couple months to go away on a cruise, and your neighbors forget to water and it comes back and it go, oh my God, thank you for watering. Oh, I didn't. This looks really good. This is one of those ones that you and forget. It's really easy to grow. Of course, the yarrow is wonderful and brings in all different kinds of things. There's new hybrid versions of yarrow out now. They used to be really invasive. They're not as invasive as much. The white yarrow is the native here, but planting the different kinds of yarrow you're going to bring in. Besides having a beautiful garden, I plant in my vegetable gardens, I plant flowers in it. And it's not because I like cut flowers. I don't even know. I don't cut flowers. My golden retriever sniffs them, but I bring them because I bring pollinators into my garden. The more you bring in, the more hummingbirds you bring in, the more bees, the more everything's going to start working in balance. I bring in hummingbirds because they take care of the aphids. You plant in like milkweed, the native milkweed, and everybody goes, I'm not going to plant that because it has aphids. But the aphids are there because the hummingbirds need to have protein besides nectar. And where do they get the protein? Is from the aphids. Aphids are the most ignorant, stupid insect on planet. All you have to do is just knock them off with a hose and they're going to either go into your neighbor's yard or they're just going to go like, wow, totally. I'm going to go somewhere else. And then, of course, the lavender. And, people come into the nursery and they're like that moment, oh my God, I love it. But plant different varieties. There's variegated ones now called Merlot, and they bloom at different times. There's the French, the Spanish, the English. And my lavenders, where I have one at the church I go to, there's constant bee activity there because I have them that bloom at different times of the season. So definitely put lavenders in. Oh, yes. And like I was saying earlier, if you're not sure, a glass or two of wine will give you the courage to prune it back. But so how plants grow is they have this pressure and they keep pushing the pressure up. And so if you cut them back, that'll put that pressure back down and keep them from getting rangy. The more you prune, the more the root system's going to take effect. So don't be afraid to prune. You can go out to my car right now and see all the stab marks in my car seat because I keep my pruners in my back pocket all the time. But I prune on a regular basis. Don't be afraid to. It's great to take out I don't know if anybody's driving down Watt Avenue in Sacramento, but boy, after I drive, my plants get a really good pruning. It's how to take the frustrations out.
I've always wanted, you know how you used to have a knife when you were cutting turkey? An electric knife?
Uh-huh.
I'm looking for a pruner that's exactly like that. Because I have like a long one and I have my hand clippers, but I want like an electric knife. And I've looked in Lowe's, I've looked in other places. I can't find them. Does Green Acres have that kind of a?
No.
No. Just like, but I don't want a hedge trimmer. Hedge trimmer's that big. I want something that's about that big.
Felco, you have to order online, but I think Felco has something like that.
Felco?
Yeah, they're very expensive. They're made in Switzerland. We carry them. We actually had the Northern California rep who grows grapes on our podcast. And I believe they have something like that.
The closest thing I've seen is like
a grass trimmer?
Yeah, what actually a tea bush trimmer, because it has like a dustpan and then it trims them. I saw it on social media, of course, but it's about it's totally different, but it's about that size. And then it had a dustpan after it, so they would go through and they would trim like that, and then it would catch the tea leaves.
I found something. So I was commodity buyer for Matsudas. We have the 200-acre area, and we would do topiary pruning. And I found, God, that was like 2000. I found something online. God, I'll try and remember, and I'll send you an email if I can find it. Because it was homeowner grade, but they lasted.
I think DeWalt makes something as well that might be battery operated. DeWalt,
That's
that's
little skill saws. For pruning.
Yeah, they do. You have to be careful. You know where your hands and your fingers are.
And don't drink the wine before you.
Don't. Yeah.
There's so many new tools out there. And I gave up all my gas. Everybody's going, oh, I gave up all my echo stuff to Eagle pruners just because it's just more convenient. So there's so many battery powered things out there. I'd definitely check on that. But I'll look, and if I do, I'll let you know. This one is called Angiolina. And it has the white, and bees are attracted to white. It also does well in a moon garden setting because there are pollinators that come out at night. It likes to be pruned back on a regular basis. If you don't, you might as well throw it away after a couple of months. But the more you prune it back, it's going to stop blooming, but then it's going to come back out of it. It's sort of like an orchid. My neighbors all buy Trader Joe's orchids and then put them on my back patio after they bloom and put a sign that says, "Fix me." And I just put them in a corner and get them full, and they come back out of it. A lot of these perennials are going to stop blooming. So plant together, you're going to get blooms throughout the season. But the main thing is plant so that you have flowers throughout the whole season. And that's something I'll see people in the nursery that I've known for 30 years, and I only see them in March and April. And I'm going, your yard really must suck in the summertime. Come out and plant throughout the year because you're actually bringing soil biology, you're actually bringing in beneficials, but you're also bringing in beauty. So that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any other questions or?
Oh, here we go. Just a side note. So never buy just one. Always buy a grouping. And remember your dearth, right? So our area goes through a dearth. So what kinds of things are blooming now? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, what can we plant that blooms like late summer and through
Well-
fall, like trees or?
Oh yeah, well, it's getting to the point you only want to plant your trees and shrubs in the fall because fall is for planting. The ground's still warm enough.
I have a loquat tree that blooms in November. Oh, really?
She has a loquat tree.
Loquat tree that blooms in November.
And their fruit is so good on
Yeah.
loquats.
Yeah. But
So
anyhow, so I mean, the bees just love it. They go in there and you can stand under the tree and honestly, the tree is humming with bees. So,
yeah,
and that's November. That's when they're really getting ready to.
citrus
Oh.
citrus will be blooming. And that's one of the easiest plants to grow. When you first get them for the first couple of years, they like to be microdosed and fertilized on a regular basis. A lot of people will plant a citrus tree in March and they go, why is it turning yellow? Why doesn't fertilize the heck out of it for the first 2 or 3 years? Then once they're established, they're extremely drought tolerant. And then a lot of perennials like the asters, Camellia sasanquas. They bloom throughout the winter time, and bees and hummingbirds get to it. I would suggest going to an independent nursery and see what's blooming. I don't know what the independents are down here. I'm really sorry. I feel bad about it, but in Sacramento, there's like Tellini's, there's Green Acres, of course. There's go to an independent nursery. Well, yeah, visit your local nursery and see because they will bring in stuff. Home Depot, it's like funny. When I have to go to Texas to help out, I'll go to the Home Depot in the fall in Texas, and they're planting house plants and they kill them like crotons and stuff like that. They put them out there for the fall, and it's just so you got to go to your independent nursery. So go to your local independent nursery here, and I come down here. Clarksburg is the farthest south I was going to, and I'd never been to Clarksburg, and now I get called there all the time. But I came this way through Lodi, and all I can think of is the song Lodi, the Stuck in Lodi.
Stuck in
But
Lodi.
It's beautiful down here. I'm gonna have to check it out more often, and
So you would, oh, sorry.
I've heard of Morris Nursery.
Morris.
I've never been there though.
You're going to have to go by Jesse's Grove because they have an amazing flower garden in grounds.
Can you send me that information?
I
'Cause
will. I will.
And
Yeah.
we like, so Cass likes to help. We like garden clubs. So if you have anything that we need to promote, please reach out to us. Like that, yeah. After today, we did our podcast down in Modesto, and we went to Zager Genetics, and it was a fun day. But I think when I go home, I sit in the corner with a bottle of wine and a straw. I think that will end the day really well. Oh, I have to check that out. We like to promote independent nurseries and even the nurseries close to us, because independents are where you get the best information. And Home Depots and Lowe's serve great if you want to, buy well, I shouldn't even say barbecue because we sell barbecues too, but if you want a furnace, how's that? But trust your independents because they'll do a really good job.
Here we go. I have the mic, so I'm going to pass this. Okay, no, go for it.
I'm going to put in some hedgerows.
Oh, cool.
And I don't really think of them as pollinators, but are there,
They are.
but what would you recommend for native drought resistant hedgerow?
Oh, wow. And Hedgerow Farms we're going to do a podcast on that. Like Toy On. Oh my goodness. And you're going to use all natives, right? Gosh, I have to think about that. Toy On's one, definitely. Oh man.
A long day. It's been a long.
No, but there are Arctostaphylos like Howard and McMahon. Yeah, that'd be great. I have a card. I'll be happy to give it to you. Hedgerows are amazing, and that's something that we're really going to be expanding on in the future. What I like about the company I work for is they really promote organics and about ecological gardening. I've sold a zillion boxes of Miracle Grow, and I really wish I could take all that back. We realize that the soil is living, and we need to start being better stewards of the land. So anyway, on that note.
I'm going to put, I don't think I see anything in the chat yet, but if there's anybody online that wants to put in a question, go for it. I think Judy has a question.
Quick question about bad bugs.
Okay.
My bad bug this year has been those melon beetles.
Uh-huh.
They're gross. And I ended up pulling, mainly they got the tomatillos.
Oh yeah.
Is there, I tried the neem oil, the soaps.
They're
the
not
BB.
going to be because, well, first of all, they're food for the birds, but you just don't want to you want to take their sex life away from them. So when the
They
first
have a
time,
very active one.
yeah, they
apparently.
do. They do. So that's the only way you're going to, diatomaceous earth works too, putting it around the plant, but grab them, get that good old Home Depot bucket and put a couple drops of dishwashing soap and throw them in that bucket and they'll drown. The less you have, it's just like grasshoppers. You see one grasshopper, you kill it. One grasshopper's 200 grasshoppers. So you just got to take their sex life away from them. You're just going to have to be diligent out there, put on your army helmet and go out there and just start plucking and diatomaceous earth. And you can actually shake it as a dust on the foliage.
Plant.
Yes. So that does work too.
Okay. Thank you.
But neem, no.
Didn't do anything. Neither did the
Or-
BT. No.
Or spinosad won't work. No, that's you just gotta tell them to not have sex in your yard anymore.
Pretend like I'm teaching middle school. Right?
Okay, I was wondering about hollyhocks.
Oh yeah.
We've got one that's huge. all over.
Oh, this for you.
And now little ones are coming up on the bottom. Are you supposed to cut? I mean, they're still blooming a little bit. Are you supposed to cut them off or what are you supposed
I
to
let
do?
them die back. I let them really die back because that's actually for seeds, for birds. If you don't mind, quickly look on them. I just let them. I just let them.
I think mine is probably what, 15 feet long.
God,
He
I
gets
have
up
a
above the
hard-
house and comes
I
over.
have a hard time growing hollyhock. So my hats off to you. Does it have rust and all that on it as well?
A little bit on the leaves, yeah.
Yeah. God, that's
Yeah.
great. Afternoon shade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just let it die back naturally. And I usually prune like take them out. Yeah.
You cut the stalk completely off at the, okay. What about 4 o'clocks?
Oh man, 4 o'clock's a lot of people. Yeah, you could stomp that Buick and run over the 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
Yeah, 4 o'clocks are great. That tubular flower grows in the sun, grows. Some people come up and go, why are you selling these? They're invasive. But a lot of people like 4 o'clocks. It's just like mist of the, Nile, Nigeria, and all things. Everything has its place.
So this,
Is there another tree that I didn't get what trees you suggested for bees?
Well, the tupelo tree, the red buds.
The redbuds only bloom in the spring, right?
Yeah,
the foliage is beautiful. Yeah.
crepe myrtle.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like crepe myrtle, but there's all new varieties of crepe myrtle.
We have a Palo Verde and it.
Oh
blooms, so-
man, they're beautiful. Palo Verdes are great. Anything with a flower, except please don't plant any flowering pears.
Somebody was telling me eucalyptus, certain types of eucalyptus.
Yeah, but you can't find eucalyptus hardly anymore in the nursery. We didn't have insect problems with eucalyptus until somebody brought one back from Australia. Now we have the eucalyptus psyllid, which is killing all the eucalyptus or just causing problems. So no nursery, and then also to the fire. Eucalyptus are very, very fire prone. So I wouldn't plant a eucalyptus. No, you just get the Hall's mentholyptus and bring that smell.
For flowering trees, why do you not want to plant them in pairs?
Oh, the flowering pears?
Yeah.
Just because they stink. And they're brittle. So you want to plant a tree that has slower growing hardwood. The flowering pears, after a heavy windstorm, you'll lose like half of it. And it stinks really bad. So that's why I wouldn't plant. Oh, ginkgos are great. Ginkgo biloba. There's male and female. The female smells bad, but ginkgo's a great tree. You just have to have a lot of patience because ginkgos take forever to grow.
Love it, but it is very slow.
It's extremely slow. Yeah.
But I don't think the bees are attracted.
It's not a trek, but it's just a beautiful tree. And what that does is it brings in the birds and brings in all kinds of wildlife. So definitely plant ginkgo trees because they are slow growing and long lived.
I had a question. We've got our yard that's got a lot of, I guess, shades. Do you have recommendations for shade tolerant flowers?
Oh, yeah. So can you see your shadow in those areas or is it just dense shade?
Yeah, depends on where you're at in the yard.
Well,
We get some of the afternoon sun on part of the yard, and then some of it there's like the noon hour between like 11:30 and 2:30, and then
and that's when it's sun and
that's when it's sun in the middle of the yard. So I mean,
well, coral bells,
okay.
although they have a red flower, so they don't attract bees, but like Daphne likes the shade. Boy, though, that's not a lot of time. That's not a lot of time at all.
I mean, the main part of the yard, we get more sun, and I have an acre and a half out back that's full,
Oh, okay.
full sun. So
I would put that in as ferns or plants you get at Michael's. Sorry. What's going to happen is the plants are going to stretch and they're never going to really do well if they only get that much sun. So I might suggest that's where you put like a fountain or something like that instead, because you need water source for the insects as well.
All right, so this is not pollinator related, but there's always jokes about avocados, growing avocados here. And we do have microclimates. In fact, in Lodi, there are actually some old grove avocado trees in certain neighborhoods, the older neighborhoods. But it seems to be a popular common thing. Everybody wants to grow avocados. Are there any recommendations as far as the variety of avocado or that we could try here in our area, or anything that you know for sure about growing?
Well, there's a lady up in Rockland that grows avocados for the Placer Food Bank. And she has Zutano and she has Mexicola, and she has them and they're doing really well up there. Haas, like what you get in the store, it's just, and we sell Haas in the, but the likelihood of that is,
It's very
sketchy.
Yeah. Whatever varieties they or breed of avocado they have back in like the 1920s, those are the ones that were grown in these little microclimates in Lodi. I've heard a lot that they're the bacon variety, but again,
Yeah.
the bacon variety you could get back in the 1920s. It's
And we
different.
sell bacon.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
bacon is bacon, Mexicola, Pinkerton. They do well here. I had a gentleman back in, God, it was back in the 80s. He was old then. I'm sure he's long past, but he used to bring in sacks of Haas that he grew in. It was protected by all these trees around it, but he used to bring me in bags of Haas avocados. And that was when I didn't know what an avocado was. I go, "Ooh, what's that horrible?"
Right. We did have one question in the chat, which was, does Green Acres sell manzanita?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go,
So,
Moy.
so we sell like the native manzanita, Dr. Hurd, that gets tall.
Oh,
And then we sell the Howard McMinn, which is like a shrub form. And then we carry like the ground cover type. There's Massachusetts. There's one that has a red twig to it. So we carry a number of varieties of manzanita.
okay. All right. So everybody here, this is your last chance. If you have ever had a garden question or a plant question, I'm going to bring the microphone to you. There you go.
Recently, we've lost a willow tree and a pear tree. And I blame my husband for getting the ground up wood from the dump. What do you call that? Compost.
Sure.
Thinking if they had a bad tree, they'd take it to the dump. And then he would put it all around and I have, and it killed it. It was a round and flat mushroom and it just hollowed out the tree. Someone said it was too much water and we had
For a willow?
for a willow.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, you could plant a willow next to a lake.
Okay. So, and so it killed that. And then I see mushrooms coming up close to my birch tree.
Well, that's a
So-
good sign, actually. So mushrooms are a sign that you have organic matter in the ground,
Okay.
and they're going to eventually work their way out. So
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with that. Birch, weeping willows, you don't see planted a lot anymore, like birch trees, because that's a climate change
Mhm.
tree. They get sunburned and then they get boar, and the boar kills the trees off.
Now, it was these huge mushrooms on the tree, not in the ground.
That's just what it, so the mushrooms are just eating dead and decaying tissue. They're not going to kill the tree. It's just
Okay.
a sign that you have
So-
dead and decaying.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you can blame your husband anyhow, because it sounds good. Oh, yeah.
You know, just, one stock. I'm gonna put that in a container
Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
Well, it's harder. So
Can you repeat that question for us, Greg?
okay, so she has a flannel bush, the one with the big yellow flowers to
Oh,
it.
okay.
Beautiful California native. You're going to put it in a container. It's harder to grow those in a container. Oh, well, still.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know, just
Had that we.
yeah, but it's probably likes your soil. So your soil, it's used to that native type of soil. One thing about California natives, plant them so that the root ball in the container, the top of the soil is higher than your surrounding soil. Don't amend the soil that much. Don't use potting soil. Um, the best amendment you can use is what you build in your backyard, your compost bin, or just an organic compost. I think you'd have more luck in the ground than you would in a container because it's harder to water them. Forget. Yeah, but even drip would be a problem, because they're used to in their native area and when they're established of getting just winter water and hardly any summer water at all. So a lot of times when you're out barbecuing and all that, oh my God, it's 105 degrees. I'm going to water everything. And that can kill it, kill a flannel. So just be careful, put a picture of a feral cat on it and just say, forget it about it. You could go with that, but I don't, I've seen people try and grow them and like the Romnea, the fried eggplant and that in containers, and it's hard to grow. I'd go more with your native soil in that half wine barrel and maybe a little bit of mulch and see where that goes and make sure it's a little bit higher and full sun and just yeah, half wine barrel is going to last you for a while. Yeah, I don't know. If it was me, I'd put it in the ground.
Just one stick.
Oh,
So it's just beginning.
so you didn't get it from Green Acre? No, sorry. The owners would be giving me the mother finger right now for doing that. Well, try it. Try it and give it a shot. That's one of my favorite plants. That orange, yellow flowers are amazing. And
I didn't even know it had those. They just said it was good for bees and we are trying a variety of everything. to see
Flannel?
what works and what doesn't.
I've seen them as high as 10 to 12 feet and wide, and they're majestic when they're in bloom.
What was that name of that plant again?
It's a flannel bush.
Flannel, like flannel. Okay, flannel. There we go. Okay, very good.
What a great group. If you go to I Dig Green Acres and it says ask an expert, I wish they would change that. That's me. So you can, you can ask us any question. Just don't.
We are so, oh, did you have a question? All right. I'm gonna hold the microphone for you.
The California poppy, does it come in different colors?
Yeah. And Hedgerow Farms there's one called a Mexican poppy that looks just like a California poppy with a smaller flower. And then there's one that's got red flowers to it. They're all Exostolcia, but I consider them California poppies. Yeah, I've seen some yellow, some red and some purple ones.
All right. Any other questions? Last call. All right. Oh, yes. There we go.
Sure.
We have a Valley Oak, it's been there
Awesome.
forever, but it's something must be getting into it because there's like little sawdust and there's like crack you could see in the bark. There's,
Like
things.
a boar.
I guess, I don't know. I've
Are you
never s-
noticing branches die back?
Some.
Yeah.
So it's probably a boar. It's been there for
a long time.
Probably 35 years.
And I mean, these have
And
been,
there is
this
a
is,
trail coming out of the hole and it's in the tree.
so it's a boar.
is there a way to
How do
do
you treat
anything
it?
with it?
I don't know. Please don't hate me, but you're probably gonna have to use like a neonicotinoid. Like there's a product called Tree and Shrub that you mix it with water and you put it in a bucket around the tree and it moves up like 3 feet per day and it lasts for 1 year and it basically makes the tree poisonous. But if it's a, I would say go for that with an oak because you're not getting flowers. If you put on a crepe myrtle, you're going to kill the bees. But with that, you wouldn't. That's about the only way you're going to be able to do that. Tree and shrub. They're going to eventually outlaw neonicotinoids because they do kill bees and they're known to be causing the hive decline. But on something like that, citrus, unfortunately, we have the citrus psyllid, which causes greening, and that's one plant. Citrus growers have to spray it with that in order to kill that. So, nobody else here that tree and shrub. I didn't tell you that, but that's probably what you want to use. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Right. So with that, we are going to, I think, move on to our giveaway, but let's give Greg a huge applause for being here and making his way all the way down here from Sacramento, which
It's not
was,
far.
well, but I know it's the traffic.
I've been farther to get an In-N-Out burger, so.
Good deal. So let's see. Zoe is going to come up with the container. I think what we did this time, did everybody get their tickets in with their name? This time we were having you write your name on the ticket to go in. So she'll be calling those out. Let's have you come right up front. And I'm going to just move this camera just a tad, just so we can kind of see. Oh, the Russian sage. Yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Yay, Tammy. Good job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Other. Do you want them to come up and choose one, or do you want to you want to choose one so that way you can pick what you want. So there's two $25 gift certificates, which is amazing. And then it's a $25 gift certificate to Green Acres. I know that's like definitely the great prize. There we go. Oh, okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There we go. So I think you choose 17 more names. There we go.
What do you want?
Greg, or what was it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Ernie Mayer?
Yay. There we go. His wife is currently on the Appalachian Trail. And he went with her for a little while.
She actually just bounced up to New Hampshire.
Oh, very good. Wow.
R. Souza?
Our Souza? Oh, there we go. Oops. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 more seeds. There we go. Seed packets. last packet for me. Yay. So you guys remember our next meeting is September 12th. You'll watch for your email if you're a member. Actually, we have a big distribution list, so watch for your emails on that. And then remember too, this Saturday, if you're a member, you can join me early in the morning before it gets too hot to come and check out the educational hives. And then if we have time, we'll do coffee afterwards. So you're welcome to join me. Just bring your bee soup. And then we're doing our honey tasting in November, and then our holiday party in December, and we're looking for volunteers. And one last reminder, make sure to stop by the table over there to check out how to enter your honey into the Lodi Grape Festival. So Greg has some handouts out here. So we want to make sure that you get a copy of those as well. Yep. Oh my gosh, yes. We have put the links to the podcast in the Facebook group as well as our public page. Oh, and his cards are right there. How often does your podcast come out? Okay. Oh my gosh. High five. Oh my gosh. So listen to the podcast, make sure you get your questions in. So if you have any bee related questions, we'll get to those, but we want to let Greg go because he has a long ride home, and oh, there we go. There's our right there. And thank you everybody who's joined online. We're going to go ahead and sign off online as well. So, but you're welcome to hang around. We can answer some of your beekeeping questions, and then we'll start to get cleaned up and head out. So thank you, Greg. Thank you.